Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, we have had this before under the Goodluck Jonathan regime when a Niger Delta politician was convicted in the United Kingdom for fraud, then having now served his jail sentence in the United Kingdom. This guy then returned to the Niger Delta region as a hero. So we have had antecedents of this before. As guys, I bring you this. Omo Agege's conviction didn't happen in Nigeria. We won't probe him. Senate spokesman. So that's the headline. Omo Agege, and Omo Agege, by the way, I think is the deputy Senate leader. So again, the headline: Omo Agege's conviction didn't happen in Nigeria. We won't probe him. Senate spokesman. So now this is the headline. Now you have to recall, of course, I can't quite remember his name, but there was a politician from the east recently that was convicted and jailed, and the Senate said they will continue to pay his salary because he still represents his constituency even from the confines of a prison cell. So these are the sort of people we're talking about. So the headline already tells you what to anticipate as I bring you the full narrative now of this storyline. So now let's now get into exactly what is going on here. The Nigerian Senate on Tuesday said it was not aware of the alleged indictment of the Deputy President of the Senate, Omo Agege, and as such won't probe him. Spokesman of the Senate, Godiya Akwashiki, whilst briefing newsmen on Tuesday, said the case of Senator Omo Agege was not the same as that of Senator Elisa Abo, where the Senate set up an ad hoc committee to probe alleged assault of a Nigerian woman, March 2019. Omo Agege is being accused of indictment by a county court in the United States of America in 1996 for felony. A coalition of 9 civil society organizations had, in a press briefing led by Solomon Adado, asked Omo Agege to resign his position as DSP within 72 hours. At the expiration of the ultimatum, the coalition marched to the office of the State Security Service DSS in protest. They asked the DSS to investigate and prosecute the Deputy President of the Senate since his colleagues had refused to take any action. On his part, Omo Agege, through his media advisor, Yomi Odunuga, dispelled the allegation, describing the coalition as unscrupulous band of mischief makers seeking to mislead gullible people with lies and propaganda by calling for the immediate resignation of the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Omo Agege, over a spurious and malicious allegation. Senator Akwashiki, in his briefing, said the Senate won't probe the alleged indictment of the DSP because it didn't happen here. The case of Senator Abo is clearly different, even though they are all senators. He said a motion has not been raised on the floor of the Senate and there is no pending petition from anyone that is before the Senate. I only got to read it on the media, just like any other person read it on the media. The Senate spokesman also dismissed further questions on the matter, saying, I am not the spokesman of the American Embassy. I am not the spokesman of the DSS or the judiciary, which is an arm of the government. I am the spokesman of the Senate, and to the best of my knowledge, the matter has not been brought to the Senate yet. So this is now how they are positioning themselves. It's gone somewhere again. It's just complete looting. Obasanjo once said that the Senate of Nigeria under his regime, and this really now has cascaded and transcends and translates all the way through till present day. Obasanjo once said that the Senate under his regime was filled with thieves and rogues. So now, which is not a thief and a rogue in the Senate now? Who have you identified that is not a thief and a rogue? Yes, Dino Melaye is ex-senator now, but is he not a thief and a rogue? This Omo Agege that has been convicted is in America. Is he not a thief and a rogue? Akpabio, is he not a thief and a rogue? The Senate president himself, is he not a thief? Who is not a thief and a rogue in the Senate is really where the question is within the Nigerian space. But of course, they cannot really probe this guy, because what this guy has done is quite saintly compared to the atrocities that a lot of them have committed to get into that space. He's just looting and looting. Who is going to probe him? Is it that guy from Imo State? What is Okorota? Is it Okorota that looted Imo State for 8 years solid, to the point that Ehidioha had to prosecute him, to the point that Buhari then had to remove Ehidioha for calling to question the criminality? Is it this Okorota that will go and probe Ovio Omo Agege or Ovie Omo Agege? You know, they are all criminals, effectively, and no less a person than the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, has made this be known to all of us. So they are all criminals. So how can you then ask a criminal to go and probe a criminal? So how can you ask, for instance, a drug dealer and a murderer to go and probe somebody that is a pickpocket? Because that is the equivalent. Most of them are drug dealers and murderers, and this one is just a pickpocket. So how can you, in all conscience, ask a drug dealer, a murderer, a scammer, a complete brutal guy to go and probe somebody that is just a pickpocket? He will say, how can I probe this person now when this person knows all of my life history? They are all criminals in that space. So, of course, they will just give him a pass and a buy. That senator that is in prison, what is his name again? I'm trying to recall his name. He's from the East. The one that was just convicted and is in Kirikiri now. They are saying they are going to continue to pay his salary. If I do remember his name, I'll put it in the comment section. But then, of course, this is the sort of goings on that it goes on in the Nigerian Senate. So how would you then expect somebody that no less a country than the United States of America has convicted for fraudulent practices to be then probed by the Nigerian authorities? Because of course their standard in the Nigerian Senate is higher than the standard of the Americans, isn't it? Conversations in the comment section are luta continua, but it is not the struggle that is continuing in the Nigerian Senate, is the looting. So it is a luta continua. So a luta continua, not a luta continua, but a luta continua is what goes on in the Nigerian Senate. They are all criminals, all of them, of course, head to toe. There's no Nigerian functionary that is not a criminal, and there's no Nigerian person with an IQ above 2 digits that is not of that view. But now, how do we escape the clutches of these people? Is the $1 million question. If you have the $1 million answer, please come tell me all about it in the comment section. But before you do that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. Bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me if you are with Olusegun Obasanjo in the thinking that the Nigerian Senate is filled with thieves, criminals and rogues, which I am of that view as well. But if you are of that view, then come share thoughts about all this with me in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation on with you in the comment section. But here I say peace.